So today I wanted to go over how I secure the mast to the boat. So I use 3 lines. I'm of the philosophy, primary and a backup. So the first thing I do is string this through the masthead. Try it this way. There we go. All right. And so when I picked up the boat originally, as I was bringing it back from Ohio, it was sliding further and further back the way it was secured. Okay. So I came up with this method to keep that from happening. And so that's my first line. So this is a couple feet long, and going through the masthead prevents the mast from being able to go any further back. Okay, so once I get this in place, then what I do is I slide the mast rearward into it, so it's set nice and tight. So then comes line number 2, and I also put some padding under here, and then I just take this line and go over and under and back, left over right, and then right over left. That's it. And then this is just to minimize the bounce, because even with that, it'll still bounce a little bit. So there, so I have 2 lines holding it onto the bow pulpit, or the stern pulpit, and then 1 line to keep it from going aft. All right, perfect. So that's the stern. Okay, so similar setup in the bow. So first is a hand towel, just this padding to protect the aluminum mast. And strap, and of course webbing straps are much stronger than just regular rope. So this is the primary thing that will prevent the mast from launching off the boat if, I was to, I don't know, have a rollover accident or something like that with the trailer. So, all right, so that's on there pretty good, even though it's difficult to get that tight, so it still moves a little bit. So then, just to minimize the bounce, again, to keep some downward pressure on it, I use a bungee. Bungees are not the best thing. They work. Okay. And then, so I made sure that the mast can't travel backwards, rearward, but now I got to make sure it can't travel forward, and I want to keep it from twisting because I don't want the spreader boots to hit the cabin top. So the way I do that is with a line that goes through the horn cleat. And then twists around, and then it comes over to the starboard side, and then it's secured on the port side. And so what that allows me to do is put some pressure through the twist of this line. Put some pressure that will keep it from being able to spin. So you got to pull it really tight. And then lock it down. So now this is opposing the line that's on the stern. So it can't move forward, can't move back with the stern line, and then it also can't twist. And so that'll keep the spreaders, because it's the balance of the mast is uneven because the spreaders are on one side. So that prevents them from being able to twist. So here you can see the spreaders, so they're just kind of dangling in midair, and this line doesn't let them twist. And if that line wasn't there, then they would have a tendency to slowly over time start moving downward and hit the cabin top and leave a little mark on the top of the cabin top. All right, so this line keeps the spreader boots suspended, and if you didn't do it, then they'd hit about right here, and they'd leave a black mark where they're bouncing as you're going down the road and scuffing up the cabin top. So yeah, I like this method. It works pretty good. Okay, so this time I left the shrouds attached. So when I first pull the boat out, um, the shrouds are not attached because my mast hangs from the ceiling. But in this case, since I just pulled out of the water, the shrouds are still attached with their turnbuckles to the chain plates. And so here's the coil of the mast with a whole bunch of Velcro. And it takes a while, as you're twisting the wire to get it to lay just right, because you don't want to go against the natural lay of the wire, the coil in it. So you want to try and twist with it. But yeah, it takes a little effort sometimes, a little time. So I got two bungees up here toward the aft end of the mast. And then the shrouds just come up through the spreaders and the spreader boots. And then up into this coil. And then it's all both bungeed and Velcroed to the mast. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these microfiber cloths and wrap those around the turnbuckles on each of the chain plates, and then also the turnbuckle for the forestay, and that way it doesn't scratch up or mar the aluminum mast. So here's what the turnbuckles look like up front. So I've got them wrapped in the microfiber cloth and then some Velcro, and the Velcro works really well because it sticks to the microfiber cloth in addition to itself. And then here's the forestay turnbuckle. So I also put a bungee around that just to hold it tight to the mast so it's not bouncing around. And it also keeps the microfiber cloth on. So this is what it looks like when you're all done. I do need to tidy up the strap here and just tuck that in. So this is what it all looks like in the end. So this cushion throwable just pads the mast and keeps it from bouncing, because it is pretty flexible. Aluminum is a light metal, and so you don't want it like oscillating as it's going down the road. So this prevents that. And then the line here, which is run from the cam cleat around through the handles of the throwable cushion, and then I went ahead and put it through here, and that just keeps it from coming off. And so that line, there's not a lot of tension on it. It's not designed to hold the mast. It's just designed to hold the cushion in place to keep it from either sliding forward or sliding back. So this way it stays in place. All right, well, as always, hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.